What happens to a man who finds himself falling in love with a woman he fears? Neo-noir is a fascinating revisiting of the classic film noir genre, updating it for contemporary times. And this time, we're looking at a neo-noir with a pretty good cast, directed by Robert Benton. That's right, we're talking about Still of the Night from 1982, which is another one of those movies that seems to get passed over. Our story goes like this. Our hero, Roy Scheider, is a psychiatrist, and his wife has just left him. In fact, he just got word his divorce is finalized, and he's feeling kinda down. But it turns out one of his patients, an art antiques expert working for an upscale auction house, was just found dead. Murder. A detective on the case, wearing this weird zipper vest thing, stops by to question Captain Bridger, but he won't reveal anything to the cop due to doctor-patient confidentiality. And the detective warns Scheider that the killer may come after him if he thinks the patient told him some secrets during therapy. But our hero is intrigued, and he looks over his records and reminisces about the sessions he had with the newly dead patient, trying to find clues. Then he winds up meeting with the dead patient's mistress, who also works for the auction house, and you get the feeling that she has issues too. Spoiler alert, she does. Fortunately, Scheider is a psychiatrist. He's also attracted to the chick, and who can blame him? But the evidence seems to point to her as the killer, and the cops are closing in. Scheider tries to help her and solve the mystery at the same time. But did she do it? Can Heywood Floyd figure it out before he becomes the next victim? Still of the Night was directed by Robert Benton, who also directed Kramer vs. Kramer, Billy Bathgate, and The Late Show, another movie I've reviewed here on the channel. In the cast, we have Roy Scheider, of course, from Jaws and 2010 and Sequest DSV. And it's always a plus to have him in your movie. Meryl Streep is the femme fatale, and she didn't care for this picture for some reason. Didn't like it. Never said why, but she hated it. She's good, though, as you'd expect. Jessica Tandy appears as Heywood Floyd's mom, a fellow psychiatrist. Joseph Somer plays the murder victim. He was in a lot of stuff, among other things. He appears in Dirty Harry and Silkwood, and he played the president in X-Men Last Stand. I gotta say, this one is pretty slow. I figured out who the killer was right away, too. Even so, Still of the Night has a lot going for it. I liked how we see an interpretation of one of the victim's dreams from his perspective, and then again when the movie revisits it later on in the picture. Although everyone points out how this movie was inspired by Hitchcock, which you can kind of see in a few scenes, a lot of the shots are so long and deliberate, especially in the first half, that in some ways I was actually getting a Stanley Kubrick vibe. I don't think Benton completely pulled off the Hitchcock thing as well as, say, Brian De Palma could, which is a shame because you can see it in there. But admittedly, the movie is kinda flat. There are a few jump scares, but only because the rest of the picture is kinda slow to get anywhere. Well, that's not to say it's bad, but it is kind of a slow boil. If you put the pot on a burner that was turned off, on a disconnected stove. I'm giving Still of the Night 2 1/4 paws up. It's not great, maybe, but it's vastly better than what we usually see from Hollywood today. The movie delves into the life of a psychiatrist in an interesting way, and the movie has a good cast that's doing their best, especially Scheider. The cinematography is very good too, but this movie needed a little more zip in its shorts. It needed to shift up into low. We do get some good moments and some suspense, but in the end, it's gotta be said, the movie is pretty flat. Still worth a watch, though. It's interesting to see what they were going for. You can watch my review of The Late Show here, and down there, you can see more movie reviews of movies from the 1980s. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.